Hey everybody, I'm Brandon Goji, and today we're going to make some soil out of my compost. Hopefully this will give you ideas to make some soil for yourself as well. So let's get started. Let's just walk through here without tripping, hopefully. There's some horsetail here and some apple trees on the side. Not all of my apple trees made it, but nettle grew instead, so I'm really excited about that. I have some wild nettle now. And this is a wild pumpkin growing. I guess you can call it wild. I didn't plant it. Just seeds from last year that apparently didn't get composted completely. A lot of my stuff actually doesn't compost 100%. Egg shells, those take forever. Coconut shells, those take forever, etc. On the left side of this is new compost that has a long way to go. And then on the right side is compost that's ready. So this red frame is what we will be using today to make some soil out of the compost. This, it's a strainer. It's got some maple seeds in there if anybody wants some. Just kidding. It's really heavy. It's waterlogged, but I use it anyhow. So all it is just a wood frame with a metal sheet in between. It works really well. So let's get started. Pulled out my wheelbarrow and I got the strainer on top. It fits perfectly on the wheelbarrow on purpose. What we're going to do is pull it back and forth with some compost on it. So let's dig some compost and dump it on the screen. Each dump you can consider as a difficulty level. The more weights you add, the harder it is to strain. You'll notice that there are a lot of worms in here. Try your best to pull those out first before you start straining. You can tell that it damages them. You can either strain it with your hands or you can run it back and forth, which is what I'm going to do in a moment. You can consider it a serious workout. No joke, actually, it's pretty hardcore cardio. But this is what you get when you strain it with just your hand. You still get some. It's fine, but you don't get as much. But look how nice that soil is. My soil is mainly made out of worm castings. I use a lot of leaves because I'm in Michigan and we have a lot of maple trees that drop. So here's where the workout starts. Gardeners have muscle for a reason. I'm dumping all the old compost that isn't ready on that side. That's what I just strained. So I'm just going to shovel in as much as I feel I can handle at a time. It gets pretty heavy, so be careful with how much you put in there. I'm feeling pretty confident in myself, apparently. So just run it back and forth, and 60 seconds or less, you will start getting exhausted. It's actually quite the workout. You'd be surprised. So there's a lot of stuff that's actually getting strained. It's quite incredible, actually, how much stuff is left when you're done. You can tell I'm starting to feel it now. But it's worth it. It's so good for your health. Gardening is the best for your health. You get a good workout, and you get nourished from all the plants that you grow. That, to me, is the type of lifestyle I definitely want. And I hope you do too. You'll feel great, I promise. Here's all the stuff that's left over. You can tell a lot of it is rocks and coconut shells. Eventually the coconut shells will break down. Probably not in my lifetime, but they will. Look at all the stuff that's left over. It's really amazing. There's an avocado seed that didn't fully compost. A lot of stuff doesn't compost too well. I noticed with my compost, it's the worms that break it down and not so much the bacteria. That coconut was not broken down at all, and I really don't expect it to be. We can collect a lot of worms. Some of them look really lethargic after straining, so don't do what I just did here. Make sure you try to pick out as many as you can before you strain, or else you'll pretty much kill your worms. And imagine being run over by boulders, because that's basically what I just did to them. I feel kind of bad. So I have some regrets right there. There's a lot of worms. A lot of worms. Which pretty much shows that I do have good soil. So I'm happy about that. If you're afraid of worms, I'm totally sorry, because I'm grossing you out right now. Don't be grossed out. It's just a part of nature. They're not going to eat you. They're not going to... They're not parasites, so just don't worry. They help nourish you in the end. They're working for us, surprisingly. But there's a pile I got just within the 30 seconds. Now it's time to wheel this over to where I want it. Only like 20 feet away. It's time to nourish our plants. I gotta be careful right here. You can't really tell there, but I'm on a hill, and I could knock over the wheelbarrow very easily. Wheelbarrow was actually surprisingly heavy. I could roll the wheelbarrow into the greenhouse, but I'm not going to because it's really annoying. There is a 2x4 board that I don't really feel like wheeling over. So I'm trying to find a bucket that will work. That bucket did not have any handles, and I don't want to use my fingers to carry a bucket. So yeah, that's much better. That one can just get thrown out. No, just kidding. It'll just stay there for now. I can just make some nutrients. A camera person got distracted with the cat. I'm just going to fill these buckets up and bring them into the greenhouse. There's a lot of labor involved, but just go at your own pace. It's no competition. It's just for yourself, really. I realized that this compost is really heavy because it rained the other day, so it's holding in a lot of moisture. The best way to scoop from a wheelbarrow is from the front, so you can slide down it rather than up. And don't worry about spilling any, because that just goes into the garden anyhow. Actually, I got that in the grass. That's fine. Fill it up as much as you can. Just don't strain yourself. Don't put too much weight in. If you have to, only do it halfway or even less. That's fine. I'm gonna put some in my tomato plants while I'm there. One of the kung fu conditioning I do is I lift buckets and pull them off to the side. So I decided to try it with these, but they were incredibly heavy. I think each bucket was about 50 pounds, so I really strained myself. But it was fun to at least try. Let's get those in the greenhouse and start feeding some plants. Don't forget to grab your shovel. Whoops. Definitely forgot that. You kind of need it. Since the shovel does not really fit in the bucket, I'm just going to dump all the dirt in one spot and shovel it to wherever I need it. So I'm going to give generous feeding to my tomato plants and pretty much everything in here. Everything got stressed out from some bad soil, and now I'm trying to make up for it. The one flaw with greenhouses are bugs. They're all over. And it's really annoying, especially when you're sweating, because they are attracted to your infrared heat. So we have one bucket left for now, or at least for this video. So I'll dump that and try to generously feed everything even more. I'm not kidding when I say I'm going to feed like crazy. We'll see what happens. I'm really interested to see if it's possible to burn a plant out with compost. I really don't think so. I've been doing that for years, probably since I was about 15. Never really had any trouble with it. I've only seen good results with using compost. It's one of those things that it's so natural that you really don't need to worry about overdoing it. Although it is possible, but it's very rare. But be careful when you're using nutrients. And darn those cats. Yeah, when you're using nutrients, you may have to worry a little bit. If you use too much, you will burn your plants very easily. You can tell I missed a goji clone right there, so I really want to make sure that gets fed, especially in the stage it's in right now. I have noticed actually, the compost isn't working too well on the aloe vera, which is interesting. So I need to find out how I can save those plants. So sometimes while you're working out there, you start to sweat, which is fine. It's really good to sweat. It helps detox. But when you sweat on your tablet, this happens. Apparently the sweat was warm enough to land right on the zoom button and do that. I applied generously everywhere, inside the greenhouse and outside. You can see the color difference of the soil. It's pretty incredible. So obviously there's a lot of nutrition in that soil and the plants will be happy. I gave some to my blooming goji berry as well, and I almost fed the weeds. Whoops. So we'll see what happens in about a week or two. We should have good results. I'm ready for some produce this year. Hopefully. I already have tomatoes growing, so I'll be alright. This is actually the worst garden I've ever grown since I was about 15. But things will take off very, very soon. I know it. Especially with how dark that soil is. Compost. Whatever you want to call it. It's good stuff. So we're done. That's it for this. I just need to clean up later, maybe. Let's kick that out and close the door and call it good. That's enough for a daily exercise. That's plenty, actually. Everything's looking good. I'm excited. I'll have food soon. Hopefully you guys will as well. If you don't already, start a compost bin. It's really easy. Ask your neighbors for scraps. If leaves drop in your area, use the leaves. Make sure you put your wheelbarrow back. And that's it, everybody. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing if they're doing more compost than you. Just worry about your garden and your health. That's all that matters. Well, not really. Everybody else matters. But you know what I'm saying. So get some leaves, make some compost, get some scraps, etc. And then strain it out. I'll make a video on how to make a strainer very soon. And remember, take off your shoes before you get in the house, because they will be full of dirt. That's it, everybody. I'm Brandon Goji. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys in the next video. If this helped you, let me know. If you have compost in your yard, share some pictures with us. Besides compost, there are other alternatives. If you can't compost, get some cutting edge nutrients or any other nutrient. I really like Cutting Edge. I've met the company at the Grow Expo and I really like them as people, and their products do work. I'm not advertising them. This is just their sample products and I like their product. So give it a go. Maybe somebody else's product will work for you too. But I know for a fact this does work, so it should work for you as well. Actually, I can guarantee it will work. Their stuff is good. They've got Grow, Micro Bloom, Uncle John's Blend, Mag Amped, and Plant Amp, all of which have really good benefits to your plants.